The final episode of the 60th anniversary specials of Doctor Who came out a couple weeks ago. And when all this started, we were maybe kind of excited. RTD coming back, David Tennant returning as a doctor,
Hello, I'm the Doctor.
Catherine Tate coming back as Donna Noble,
Donna Noble, since you didn't ask.
Neil Patrick Harris coming in as the Celestial Toymaker, a first Doctor villain. How could this not be great?
It's going to be legendary.
Yeah. Well, not legendary, but no one's going to forget what happened. Honestly, the show itself is okay up to a certain point. I thought, you know what? This reminds me a lot of some RTD stuff. And you know why? Because it was a lot like a lot of RTD stuff. First off, we got Neil Patrick Harris as a Celestial Toymaker.
Excuse me, are you Neil Patrick Harris?
Look, I like MPH. I think he's wacky in this, and I don't mind it. Reminds me a little bit of John Sim is the Master. The whole show basically involves the Toymaker getting released on our universe because the Doctor invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe in the previous show.
I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe, where the walls are thin and all things are possible.
So now the Toymaker comes in and he decides to wreak havoc and play games with everyone because that's what the Toymaker does. He basically makes everyone think they're absolutely right. No one's opinion is wrong. So we get, I think it's a commentary on the way people are discussing politics today. My way is right. No one else's way is correct. I'm guessing. There's some interactions now and then. We get a character who's Prime Minister of Britain who honestly looks like a cross between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump.
What do I care? I mean, seriously, why should I care about you?
And he's ranting and raving about what's right and what's wrong. We then get a very blatant metaphor / allegory, whatever, to a way to stop the madness that is making everyone think they are right and wrong by this band that wear around their arm. And there's some very obvious, like I say, analogies to, let's be honest, vaccine hesitancy.
I am anti-Z-Dex.
The story itself is generally what you expect from an RTD episode. We had the big bad, who's kind of wacky. There's some good interaction between Donna and the Doctor. Again, I have no fault with any of the way the actors are doing their job up to a certain point. David Tennant knows his role. He knows how to play the Doctor. Catherine Tate, she's doing great as Donna Noble. MPH, who doesn't like Neil Patrick Harris? I mean, come on.
I figured that Neil Patrick Harris was a trustworthy guy.
He's having fun with the role. He doesn't even know Doctor Who. He admitted this, but he's just playing a wacky character. And again, there's a lot of analogies to the prior show. We got the planet being taken over through basically mind control, which the Toymaker planted with the first image in a television in the 1920s. And it's a very clear analogy to the Master's control of the Archangel network and the sound of drums.
What's the Archangel network?
I've got Archangel. Everyone's got it.
There's some unnerving horror-like elements in the show, which is some good RTD stuff. Going back to, the Weeping Angels, Midnight, those scary sort of things that you remember from classic Doctor Who. The Doctor seeing the puppet.
Now I dance. Whenever he commands, I dance and I prance, but I can never go home again.
You get the scene where Donna's attacked by Stooky Bill's children.
The great and endless night.
It's unnerving stuff. It's meant to be unnerving. That's what Doctor Who is. That's what it always has been. That's fine. That's fine. We even get this weird little sequence where Neil Patrick Harris is dancing around singing to a Spice Girls song. And again, this goes back to old RTD stuff. Just go back and watch Sound of Drums. So I got no problem with this. And I know it's being done. I know it's being done for nostalgia purposes. I get that. And I kind of like it. I kind of like that old feeling because it reminds me of it. But, okay, so go past that. Now, this is where things get bad. This is for me where things get bad. And where I think the whole 60th anniversary fails. Besides the fact it did not feel worthy of being a 60th anniversary. This whole show has basically been about the David Tennant Doctor processing his grief. There's a scene where the Doctor kind of has a little bit of a breakdown in the endless maze that the toy makers made up. He basically admits that he's kind of worthless.
Oh, Sonic and TARDIS and Time Lord, take that away. Take away the toys. What am I?
And you know, this is not the Doctor I remember.
I'm the Doctor.
But you think back at the triumphant Doctor, the proud Doctor, the Doctor who knows who he is, who always fights for what he believes in, and is not constrained to just being a man who bases everything off a blue box and a sonic screwdriver. This is the Doctor who stood on the Titanic and said, "You will not die today."
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Casterbarus. I'm 903 years old, and I'm the man who's going to save your lives and all 6 billion people on the planet below.
This is the Doctor who stood on top of Stonehenge, the Pandorica.
Remember, every black day I ever stopped you, and then, do the smart thing.
Let somebody else try first.
That's who he is. And when he has his breakdown, this fails. This is where it fails. And in the end, of course, you know, he basically retires, right? It's like, I've had a good life. I've done everything. And now it's time for me to settle down and relax.
Funny thing is, I fought all those battles for all those years. And now I know what for. This.
That cheapens David Tennant's 10th Doctor. That cheapens the sacrifice he made for Wilfred Mott.
Please.
Wilfred, it's my honor.
That cheapens him going and getting his reward.
Where are you going?
To get my reward.
And then, of course, the bi-generation.
What?
What?
What's really interesting to me is, you know, most of the commentary about this episode has not been the quality of the episode. Again, like I say, it was an okay episode, except when it went off the rails. It's really the reaction afterwards. Let's look at some of these articles here. This is what's coming out. Doctor Who lead Ncuti Gatwa. Again, I want someone to explain to me how NC becomes SH sound. I'm not being a dick about it. I really want to understand the language behind it because it's very confusing to me. We'll definitely address. Ncuti Gatwa says the series will definitely address protagonist's new race. Feature an episode inspired by actors' very leftist liberal bubble.
I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but I've got to snap you out of this.
Of course, we can't forget the race swapping, which I think Heels versus Babyface as was very correct in pointing out that it's because of the BBC requirements there'd be diversity in basically every television show. Of course, this thing, this is the one that a potentially divisive romance. Well, we know what's going to happen here. The Doctor's going to be played gay, apparently. Which, you know, Ncuti Gatwa is a gay man. Totally fine. Gay men have portrayed straight characters before. For instance, a certain John Barrowman, who is best known on the Doctor Who series as Captain Jack Harkness.
Captain Jack Harkness. And who are you?
There's going to be a romance, not between the 15th Doctor and his companion, Ruby. It's going to be with Ruby's boyfriend, played by John Howard King, who apparently was in The Little Mermaid, the live-action Little Mermaid. Apparently falls for the Doctor. Okay. Yeah. That's going to happen. Of course, this is where it really gets me. So, this is from The Verge. So, apparently, even the mainstream media is upset that Ncuti Gatwa was overstaged by David Tennant. Didn't get a chance to shine as the Doctor. First off, he's basically just the last 5 minutes of the show. But I'm guessing that's racist.
You vile racist!
You know, there's a lot of stuff going on outside of the show that makes it just not look good. But, again, by generation.
I have bi-generated.
What?
RTD's decided to change how the Doctor regenerates. He now apparently splits apart like an amoeba. That's new. That's new. And mind you, look, there's been a lot of changes to regeneration throughout the years. You know, a lot of it, I think, had to do with effects. You know, when the Doctor first regenerated, there's just like a blurry screen and a new Doctor reappeared. Now, of course, we have a much more dramatic effect with energy sparking and blowing out all over the place. You know, the changing from one Doctor to another is a very explosive event. This time, however, it's not. He knows he's going to change, and he's got Donna and Mel, former companion Mel, kind of holding on to him, which is really not a smart thing to do.
I'm regenerating.
He says, pull.
I said, Paul, stop it whining and listen to me.
So they pull apart, and out of there pops Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor.
I think I'm really me.
They just separate. Now we have two Doctors. Two Doctors who face the Toymaker and a game of catch for the fate of the universe.
The first game ever.
The ball.
Catch.
Look, Doctor Who's a little wacky, crazy sometimes. That's kind of fine. The game of catch is kind of stupid. But in the end, you know, they do end up beating MPH. And now we have two Doctors. We have two physical Doctors existing at the same time. And this flies in contrast to literally 60 years of canon.
This is so non-canonical.
Canon is important to these genre legacy shows that have been around for decades. Canon is important to Star Trek. Canon is important to Star Wars. Canon is important to Doctor Who. Canon is even important to the MCU. But now, the impulse from these creatives is to destroy canon. So apparently, RTD subscribes to the school of thought that Taika Waititi has. I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby. I feel like it's becoming a more and more consistent theme in genre media today. Rewriting MCU. Rewriting Star Trek.
And why would you do that?
More recently, we had Ahsoka come out. And the new creative head of Star Wars is, of course, Dave Filoni, who created Ahsoka. And, you know, just went on and kind of retconned his own shit.
I know. Right?
I mean, it's his stuff. he can rewrite it. Never mind the fact that there's 20, 30 years of legacy behind him. He's just going to rewrite it for what he wants. That's okay, isn't it?
Well, that's all right then.
And this is what RTD is doing. My opinion, what he is doing entirely is rebooting the whole show. He's rebooting Doctor Who. And it's different than when he did it. 2005, in my opinion, was not a reboot. 2005 was a revitalization of Doctor Who. It was a resurrection of Doctor Who. And there's more reverence for the original Doctor Who than I think we're going to see in what's going on now.
Why do you say that?
Because now, after almost 60 years of understanding how the Doctor recreates himself, now he doesn't regenerate, he bigenerates.
There's no such thing. Bigeneration is supposed to be a myth, but...
Look at me.
And ironically enough, of all sites, it's Screen Rant who points this out. The timeless child was damaging to Doctor Who's past.
That's the understatement of the millennium.
Bigeneration hurts the Doctor's future. Holy crap. Totally on point. You know why it does? Because it's kind of cheapened the Doctor. So the best part is RTD himself has said this. Every Doctor bigenerated in the 60th anniversary, not just Tennant. The events of the Giggle rippled through the Doctor's timeline.
I think what with Peter having been in and Colin having been in, I think down the timeline, they all separated. They all went like that. All the Doctors came back to life.
So what this basically means is that all the prior Doctors are running around out there. Now, we already know that the Timeless Children has changed Doctor Who lore and Doctor Who canon by stating, that there are not 13 prior Doctors before David Tennant's 14th Doctor. It's apparently hundreds, because the Time Lords were created from a young black girl who fell through a fissure in the universe and was experimented on by some Mengele-style Gallifreyan scientist who's a woman. Because, yay, women in STEM.
Well, this is nonsense.
Well, that's one word for it.
And it diminishes what each actor gave to the Doctor. Every person plays a Doctor, and they play it their own way. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a mantle, but the Doctor is a mantle. The Doctor is a being, and everyone has a different take on it. But there's always been reference by every Doctor to the prior Doctors.
My voice going all squeaky when I shouted. I still do that. The voice thing, I got that from you. You were my Doctor.
They've always recognized the participation of the ones before them. They've appreciated it. And while they've made the Doctor their own, they've recognized that the Doctor is something beyond what they are. They have to pay homage to it. You can't just run off and play the Doctor however you want. You play it with the respect for the prior Doctors before you. It's almost like, look, Hamlet has been a role throughout hundreds of years, and maybe you play it a little differently each time, but there's still the core Hamlet role. There is still the core Doctor. The Doctor, the Time Lord, the Gallifreyan, the man who took and stole a TARDIS and ran off to explore the universe with his granddaughter, and has always found a way to make things right, even when it felt that he couldn't do it, even when it's the toughest choice. He made that choice. The Doctor is a hero, and he bears the scars and wounds of a hero. That's what made the Doctor great. But now this is again where I go back and say, RTD is rebooting it entirely. There's this whole scene at the end where, like I say, David Tennant Doctor retires. It's not even the 10th Doctor, it's the 14th Doctor.
It doesn't make sense.
RTD just wants to start over. RTD is abandoning the past and saying, this is the Doctor now, which is one of the reasons why I think they've relabeled it. This isn't season 14. This is series 1 now.
What have you done?
Never mind the fact that there's 20, 30 years of legacy behind him. He's just going to rewrite it for what he wants. That's okay, isn't it?
Well, that's all right then.
We're starting all over. All the doctors before didn't matter. This is the new doctor now. That cheapens history. That cheapens the role. And you know what? Honestly, Screen Rant has it right. Biogeneration made Ncuti Gatwa's job more difficult. Totally right on this. Totally right on this. Traditional Doctor Who generations involve the outgoing actor being replaced quite literally by the successor, one Time Lord in, one Time Lord out. The moments in the immediate aftermath of a regeneration are vital for the newcomer, allowing the incumbent Doctor to stake their claim, show off their persona, and make a strong first impression on the audience, still reeling from the previous version of Doctor Who's beloved hero departing in a hail of golden light. Ncuti Gatwa doesn't get that. I don't know if I'm going to like Ncuti Gatwa. I'm going to give him a shot. I gave Dr. Jodie a shot. Didn't like Dr. Jodie after a couple episodes. Maybe Ncuti's good. I don't feel positive right now because of the things that he said, by the things RTD says, what they want to do for the stories in the future. If the stories are more narrative, social justice driven, as opposed to just telling good science fiction story, probably not going to like it. But I still say, Ncuti Gatwa deserves a chance. He's not getting off to a good start. And it's not a good end for Doctor Who. I think Peter Capaldi had it right.
Doctor, I let you go.
I think maybe we had been fine with the end of the 12th Doctor. Of course, we have the Christmas episode coming up, which will probably not mention Christmas. But till then, questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click the like button, click the subscribe button. See you all later.
Oh, well, that's all right then.